I'm Dr. Nelson.
Oh, hi, Ryan Williams. Pleased to meet you.
No, I've known
This is
Bill.
Steve Sutherland.
Dr. Silver Christian from Romania.
All right. No, I've known Bill for some time, in the early days of putting together the technology that has gotten us to where we are today. Biofeedback, energetic medicine is also a large part of the success to the work that Bill has done. So I think that just about any discipline that you are involved with in healthcare can benefit from the system.
And now, being an acupuncturist, how would that actually apply to the work that I'm doing now? Because obviously I've spent quite a bit of time with this, and we go into a lot of work with the needles.
Well, Bill was the fellow that was able to get the acupuncture approved as a medical device.
Are you joking?
In the United States, some years
Wow,
ago.
okay.
Yep,
Wow.
It's a long story. I was able to register a diagnostic device with the FDA. The next year I was able to register a therapeutic device that would do electroacupuncture therapeutically with the FDA. And after that, I told them I was going to put the two together, and that's when all of a sudden they started getting crazy. They didn't want to interfere with drug sales, that type of thing. So a group of acupuncturists, in fact Steve was one of them, came to me and asked me if I could register the acupuncture needle. Well, here, come to find out that the acupuncture needle was not registered. It should have been registered, but it wasn't registered by the FDA as medical devices. So what I had to do is I had to register the acupuncture needle. It's kind of interesting that we're in the Merck room, and this has been built by one of the chemical companies. One of the chemical companies that has devised synthetic chemistry and put this into our children, into our society. And now the evidence is in. We're finding out that these chemicals don't work. They've developed these chemicals for 50 years, and one by one they've been taken off the market because they're hurting and killing people. They take natural medicine, but natural medicine has no profit, no money in it. It can't be patented. And they seek to find the patents of their synthetic drugs. They present the evidence of the natural for its safety, and they put this into commerce, and it gets into our children and into our bodies. The evidence is in. We have now gone through and found that this is a problem, and that these drugs are hurting people, and that natural medicine indeed works. The only reason that they take these herbs and try to make them into synthetic is because they function and they work. We're going to be talking about energetic medicine and the idea that there's energies flowing through the body. This is a well-known fact. We know about the energy of the brain, the energy of the heart, the nerves, that all of the cells of the body have an electrical dynamics, and that the operation of these cells depend on the electrical energy. Now, the system of acupuncture is a type of energetic medicine. It's a type of idea of the fact that there's an energy flowing through the system, through acupuncture meridians. Now, this was not understood by the chemical systems, because the synthetic chemical companies have a strong monetary investment on keeping a chemical basis of medicine. And they didn't want to accept acupuncture, a form of energy flowing through the body, energy that could be stimulated or balanced or controlled. So the form of acupuncture, which is ages old, has never been accepted because it hasn't been profitable to the chemical companies.
Oh, Dr. Nelson, I've read your work on acupuncture. This is very dangerous. I'm very concerned for you.
Well, I recognize that we're stepping on the toes of an awful lot of big money industries, especially the synthetic chemical companies. But the acupuncture is an age-old system of medicine, and the world needs to know that there's a validity to this. There is an energetic medicine.
I guess so, but it's still very risky. I mean, alternative doctors have died mysteriously through doing what you're doing.
Well, I recognize that, and I know that FDA and drug companies don't like this, but this is something that has to be done,
A man on a mission, huh?
I guess. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Right, want to run for you?
No, thank you.
Oh, hello, Rana. Been looking over for you. Find you in an FDA bar.
Here I am.
Oh, jeez. Have a good day today?
Yeah, it was not bad.
How about a red wine?
Well, how about some of the house, by the way?
Oh, many thanks.
Good.
Thanks.
To your health.
Us.
Bill?
Rana, maybe we should just move your office down here. What do you think about that?
Maybe you should find a place to hang out yourself, Dick.
Scotch, please.
Straight up.
Well, those lectures are kind of interesting today.
Yeah, they were pretty interesting, I can say that much.
This first one about the library, where the one woman came in from New York and pointed out how most of the malpractice charges were committed by traditional medical doctors and not by alternative quacks. I thought that was very interesting.
That blew me away myself.
And then that other one where the woman showed that the more education a person has, the more they tend to go to alternative and natural doctors. I thought that was very interesting.
And that was very educational for myself as well.
I think this whole thing is kind of backfiring a little bit on the FDA. But I think the FDA set this up against natural doctors and against these naturopaths, alternative types.
It's not so much that they set it up, Bill. I think we're just trying to do our job. You know?
Well, there's a couple of cowboys out there trying to do more than their job.
Well, yeah, there are a few. But I'm not one of them, and most of us aren't. We do try and, just go by the rules and by the law and make sure that we get our job done the right way.
Well, I want to go on the record. I want to tell you, I believe the FDA is a meaningful, purposeful, essential organization. There are people in the alternative field who will just sell anything, and I think that's wrong. I think we need to do statistics, we need to do quality, I think we need to look at these things. I believe the FDA serves a meaningful function.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and I believe it myself. It's a job. It's my job, and but
There's a couple of cowboys out there making it hell for us.
yeah,
They pursue the natural doctors like crazy and make up things and twist things. It's kind of crazy.
Those are the guys that kind of ruin it for all of us. Which is unfortunate, but if you can look beyond that, I think we can get along. We don't have to be enemies.
Well, we don't have to be enemies?
No, I don't think so.
How about friends?
I think we can be.
How about more? Okay, boys, ready?
Oh, thank you.
Oh, nice restaurant. The Robin Hood. What a place, huh?
It's very nice.
To the FDA.
To the FDA. Bill, there's something that I've been wanting to tell you, but I don't know. I don't know if I should.
You should. You definitely should.
It's going against everything that I do.
You definitely should.
Well, how bad do you want to know?
Oh, I want to know really bad.
Okay, well, all joking aside,
Yes.
there's an unwritten rule in the FDA that we all follow.
Yes?
We don't allow anyone to get too big or too powerful.
Too big, too powerful?
Yes, too big, too
Have
powerful.
I had too much wine? What is this?
No, if you have too much money, too much power. That's what we do. It's
so
not
you're
written anywhere, but that's
Try
our
to
job.
keep all the little boys from getting into big boys. And,
Sure.
interesting. Well, how far does this go personally about you not letting things get too big?
Depends how big we're talking.
Well, size does matter, you know.
Bill, is your mind always in the gutter? Or?
Sorry, Dr. Nelson, can I interrupt you there? You speak about the FDA. Now, obviously, coming from South Africa, we've got various bodies which I guess are similar, but maybe not as stringent. I've heard a lot of vicious rumors about them. Can you substantiate that at all?
Yeah, the FDA is pretty cruel people, and actually, the FDA was started by a homeopath. Dr. Clayton was a member of the House of Representatives. He was also a homeopath, and he started the FDA in order to save homeopathy. In the first couple pages of the FDA Act, homeopathy is mentioned several times because it's completely legal. So they asked me to look into about the case of the acupuncture needles and just what was happening. In 1976, the United States legislature voted in a device act that would make every piece of medical equipment needed to be registered, whether it was a tongue depressor, whether it was a cotton swab, anything. According to the law, anything that was in the market prior to 1976 was supposed to be grandfathered in. Precept of normal English laws ex post facto, it should be grandfathered in. The FDA did not let in the acupuncture needle. This was a violation of the essence of the 1976 Device Act.
Medicine should be natural. Medicine should be natural. Medicine should be natural. Medicine should be natural.
Dr. Nelson? Dr. Nelson? You've been here all night?
Oh yeah, Rose. I've been working on this acupuncture needle thing. Really fascinating. You know, you gotta quit putting this white out on the screen. They said if it was in commerce before 1976, that it should have been registered. But we found a receipt from George Washington. George Washington bought acupuncture needles in 1776. So we beat the deadline by a little bit.
Just a fraction of
Just
I would imagine. Yeah.
Well, Rose, I finished it. Over 350 pages. It's a treatise on the acupuncture needle. And I found 5 different places where the FDA was violating the laws.
So they were illegal?
Well, now we're going to try to make them legal because they were experimental before, and it was wrong what the FDA did about acupuncture needles. And I've been working on this for months, and I'm finally done with it.
I don't always understand it, but I know you're doing the right thing.
Well,
it's good work.
Okay, now some of these letters I talked to you about.
What happened with acupuncture? Because I come from east of Europe, no? What happened with acupuncture in the original country in China?
In China, acupuncture has flourished for thousands of years, over 5,000 years, some people say. And it's flourished as a reproducible field of medicine. For 5,000 years, the liver meridian's on the big toe. For 5,000 years, the lung meridian's on the thumb. So this type of consistency that acupuncture has shows a validity, shows a continuity that we don't find in modern medicine. Every 10 years, things change in modern medicine.
If that kind of history should at least dispel myths that may be held by the FDA. I mean, it doesn't make sense that, well, how is it this could be refuted?
Well, in 1992, when I looked into this, I found out that the FDA totally did not recognize any form of acupuncture and labeled the acupuncture needle as experimental. And it should have been registered. There was a study done in the New England Journal of Medicine that said that 60% of the American public is getting into and using natural medicine. 40% of the American public religiously use natural medicine, alternatives, vitamins, chiropractic, acupuncture. And yet, less than 1% of 1% of 1% of the FDA represents natural medicine. So it's very much that the FDA does not represent the people of America.
What? Just sort of... Gee, I feel bad I didn't get you anything.
Acupuncture was legal in 25 states when they asked me to register the acupuncture needle. And yet, the FDA had credentialed acupuncture needles as experimental only, which was another law the FDA was breaking. If something was labeled experimental, it should have been monitored experimentally. Everybody who was going to be using acupuncture should have had to have an evaluation, sign a consent form, all these other different things.
the phone. Sue, send Dick in, right now.
So the FDA was violating many different things. The FDA was persecuting many people.
You wanted to see me?
Yeah, Dick, we got a problem with this report here. If this goes public, we're in a lot of trouble. Look, start an investigation. Put a freeze on it.
Who is this guy?
This man here. Now, hey, better idea. Get a conviction. We'll kill it completely.
Has he committed a crime?
You've never worried about that before. Why start now?
Okay, consider it done.
All right.
1994, I sent this into the FDA. Exactly 5 days later, the FDA launched an investigation against me.
Attention passengers, flight number 642 to Denver, Colorado has been delayed.
I found out later that by launching an investigation, they were able to freeze the paperwork that I'd sent. If there was an investigation against me or a conviction, my paperwork would do nothing, would go nowhere. So they started an investigation to try to find something to get at me.
Is this the implosion company?
Yes, it is.
Dick Hudson, FDA. I've got a warrant for search and seizure of all your property here. I'm going to have to go through all those files, go through your desk, go through your purse.
For what reason?
Because I'm looking for an infraction. And I know it's here. It's just a matter of time before I find it. So you can either help me, or you can hinder me.
What do you mean?
If you hinder me, you're obstructing justice. And that means I'll put you in jail.
We haven't done anything.
Not yet. But you will. I'll find something. I know it's here. I know these quacks, these homeopathic doctors. Now, what's it going to be? Come on! Give me these files. Put them on your desk. And move these things out of the way. I'm going to need some space. And you might as well get up and get me a cup of coffee. What are you waiting for?
All right, then. Take care. Bye. Well, Nelson, how you doing?
Hey, not too
bad. It's been a long time. It's been about 10 years now.
Shit, what the hell are you up to?
I actually got my own little practice going in Florida, picking up on my golf game as well. So everything's working out really well for me.
What kind of practice you got? What do you do?
Plastic surgery.
Plastic surgery. You always were into the tits and asses.
Absolutely.
All right. It must be great babe territory down
there. Oh, yeah. South Beach especially. What are you into?
Oh, I'm into natural medicine, into homeopathy, acupuncture.
Acupuncture? Aren't those little Chinese guys sticking needles in someone's back or something like that?
Oh, yeah. We were taught it was all garbage when I started looking into it.
It is garbage.
No, it's cool. For 5,000 years, they've had a medical practice, and it's met the test of time. 5,000 years. We can't ignore this.
I've never heard of it up until a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but that's ignorant thinking.
Ignorant thinking?
Yeah.
Come on, Nelson. I haven't seen you in a while. You can't call me ignorant just like that.
It's ignorant. You're ignoring. It's still the largest form of medicine in the world today. And to ignore that...
The largest form?
Yeah. More people will get acupuncture tomorrow than will get allopathic treatment.
Where do you get your facts from?
No, it's true. There's so many people in China, so many people around the world that more people will go to an acupuncturist tomorrow for therapy than anything else. And it's a different type of idea. We were taught chemistry, now we're talking energy. So as I got into it, as I stopped ignoring it and started looking into it, the more I looked into it, the more it made sense. The body's not just a chemistry set. It's more than just chemicals. There's an energy flow through the body. Rose, I got your call. Came as soon as I could. What's going on?
This man came and he threatened me, and he said he was going through all your box and papers from the FDA.
From the FDA?
And he said you were doing something wrong.
You sure he's an FDA man?
Yes. And he said I had to help him or he was going to arrest me.
Take it easy, take it easy. Did you call the owners of the company?
Yes.
You take it easy.
I can't handle this.
Okay, take it easy, don't worry. You go home. You don't have to work for him. He's probably just intimidating you, okay? Take it easy, relax. Go home. We'll get you a lawyer. I'll pay for it. But don't worry. No matter what happens, we'll make sure nothing happens to you. Okay?
Okay.
So take it easy and go home.
Okay.
Dr. Nelson?
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Dick Hudson, FDA.
So,
Sorry, I just had a good lunch and I had a couple questions. I was talking to your secretary, said you'd be back.
Secretary said you were kind of hard on her.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, actually. Sometimes in my line of work, I have to ruffle some feathers to get what I need.
Yeah, she might have overreacted, too. Anything we can do to help? We recognize you guys are here to help protect the people and help protect us. And if there's anything you find we're doing wrong, we want to know about it.
Great. I'm glad to hear you want to cooperate.
What do you want to talk about today?
Well, anything.
Anything?
Anything.
How about homeopathy?
Sounds good.
Yeah? You know much about homeopathy?
Not too much, but why don't you educate me?
Okay, well, we can talk about that. But I got something else I'd like to talk about. I thought this might be some good conversation. This is my acupuncture needle 510K. I want to know your opinion as an FDA agent.
I won't talk about that.
What, you know about that?
I just won't talk about that.
I just sent this in last week. That would have been enough time, huh?
I won't talk about that.
Acupuncture needles are experimental. And inside this treatise, I prove that they should be medical. And if that's true, then the insurance companies would have to pay for acupuncture. That would step on an awful lot of toes, wouldn't it? Now I know what this is all about. Okay, well, we don't have to talk about this. We can talk about something else. I know what's going on now. So this was proof to me that the entire problem was this acupuncture needle. Now when the investigator came to my house and wanted to ask me questions, he said he'd talk about anything, but he wouldn't talk about the acupuncture needle. He wouldn't talk about that at all.
I won't talk about that.
Now, they came to our office, part of the investigation, spent 3 months going through all the paperwork on our shelves, trying to find something that they could drum up against me. In the meantime, people were quitting. People didn't want to work with me, didn't want to work in the company, when there was an FDA agent sitting there every day going through everything that they did. So it was extremely difficult. In fact, we had to close the company. Not because the FDA insisted, but because we couldn't find workers who would work during an FDA investigation. So they were bullying and intimidating us and forced us out of business. I'd gone to Budapest, where in Budapest I was able to do research and do much more development into cancer research, AIDS research, arthritis research, and many other things. And I started finding a life in Budapest.
Egy éjszaka Budapesten. Egy erotikus éjszaka Budapesten. Egy éjszaka Budapesten. Egy erotikus éjszaka Budapesten. Forró nyári est. A fények szikráztak.
Experiences in Budapest actually good. Are you still living there at the moment?
Yeah, oh, I live in Budapest. Yeah, I love it. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot more freedom. I eventually had to leave America to find freedom of expression of thought. There is a law that dictates in a room of 3 or more people, you cannot express the opinion that something other than drugs, chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery could possibly be helpful for cancer. You can't express the opinion.
Is that still in effect now?
It's still in effect. The FDA had targeted me as a victim, and they wanted to try to stop my paperwork from being investigated. 1995, I came back for Christmas to be with my kids, and I was arrested at the airport.
Broken rocks in the hot sun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
William Nelson?
Yes.
Okay, we are agents with the Food and Drug Administration. You are hereby being detained. I'm going to read your rights now. Pay very close attention. This is very important. Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney, and if you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you by the court. Do you understand these rights I just explained to you?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, over the course of the next 12 hours, you will be detained in a federal institution.
What's this all about?
Actually, sir, I'm afraid we really don't have all of the details right now, but as they become clear to us, they'll of course be explained to you. Okay, now the federal institution we're taking you to, believe me, is a lot nicer than the alternative.
It's not like the New York City lockup.
Pick it up.
But in order to win in America, you have to have money. There's thousands of people and hundreds of thousands of people in jail. 1 person in 20, 1 American in 20 is in jail. 5% of the population is in jail at any one time. Now, if you look at this, the people who are in jail, 85% of them are black and Hispanic. And if you look at it as to why, it's because they don't have the money for lawyers. And if you don't have the money for lawyers, you get stuck with the lawyers off the street. And I had such a lawyer when I first got to New York. This lawyer didn't know what he was doing. He was overworked. He didn't really listen to me, changed the subject. He didn't really care. If that's the type of lawyer you get one of those freebie lawyers, and I'm telling you, you don't get justice.
William Nelson? Hi, Mr. Anderson. I'm your court-appointed attorney.
Oh,
I'll
jeez.
be handling your case. Now, I've had a very busy day, and it's getting late, and I'm not sure I can spend a lot of time with you here. And but if you want to fill me in, I'd really appreciate it. I didn't have much time to go over my notes.
Well, I haven't slept in 48 hours. I flew in from Budapest, and they arrested me at the airport. They put me into the federal penitentiary. I had to.
Okay, I guess they haven't treated you very well here, have they?
Oh, they took 8 hours just to process me. I got 2 hours to sleep next to a bunch of
excuse me. There's my
perverts.
phone. Excuse me. I'll just be a second. Okay. Hello. Yeah, Mr. Anderson here. Yeah. No, not today. We'll take care of that tomorrow. Yeah. No, we'll do that one tomorrow too. Okay. Yeah. Gotta go. Busy. Good night. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not a bad guy. I think this is just some kind of crap that's going on. I wrote up a treatise about acupuncture needles, and I think that they're trying to block its progression, through the FDA.
Well, this judge really won't care about that. She'll just, she'll maybe ask for, whatever, maybe an arraignment, and maybe we could, I could just ask for bail. How are you set for bail?
Yeah, no problem. I have friends.
You sure? Okay, I think maybe she's a tough judge, but I think we can get her off on some bail there. And
I teach in Budapest and London, and that's how I make my money. That's how I pay child support. That's how I pay my bills.
Okay, so you want to be able to travel back and forth, and Oh, and sorry, excuse me. Hello. Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. No, we'll do that one tomorrow too. Okay, thanks. Bye. Bye-bye. Sorry.
Yeah, you court-appointed attorneys got a lot of work to do, right?
Oh yeah, I had 13 cases today alone. It's been a busy day. I'm sorry. Normally, I could spend more time with you, but this one looks like a piece of cake. I'm sure we'll get off. Anyway, we'll be up in 5 minutes. Now, remember, I don't want you to say anything to the judge. Leave the talking to me. I'll do all the talking.
Wait, I want to get to the truth of this, and if she asks me questions, I want to give her answers.
Okay. Well, I think, we'll be up in hopefully 5 minutes. The judge can see us, and we'll be out of here in 10.
Okay.
Just sit tight.
The charges included charges against the machine, but when they investigated into it, they found that there was nothing wrong with that, so those charges were dropped. It was all about mail fraud, all about what they could find as far as like studies going through the mail and different types of things. So it pretty much was a bad rap that they were trying to build against me.
This is the Nelson case. This will be assigned case number 95CR450, United States of America versus William Charles Nelson. Could I have appearances, please?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. James Elliston, Assistant United States Attorney.
Mr. Anderson representing Mr. Nilsson today, Your Honor.
Very good. Mr. Nelson, you have been charged with violating Section 18 of the Criminal Code. Do you understand the charges that have been brought against you?
Yes. Yes, I do, Your Honor.
And how do you plead at this time?
I'd not guilty, Your Honor.
I'll take it from Mr. Nelson. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. Okay, I have read the various reports involved in this case, and it seems to me that you are a decent individual. There are no priors. You seem to be an outstanding citizen, upstanding member of your community. Therefore, I am willing to release you at this time without bail under your own recognizance. You must, however, be prepared to be present in a court of law in Washington next week. Are you prepared to be available for that?
I would like a little more time. Could that be extended, Your Honor?
What is the reason for the request?
I've came back to visit my children, and I've been in Europe the last couple of months, and I'd like to spend some time with them.
Very good. 2 weeks it is, Mr. Nelson.
Okay, that'd be fine, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. The matter on today is first appearance. The government has issued an order to seal the indictment. I have done that. Do you wish to unseal at this point?
We would so move at this time, Your Honor.
Very good. Counsel, are you prepared to do an arraignment today?
We are, Your Honor.
Very good. Do you wish to have a formal reading of the indictment? Further advisements of rights, Mr. Anderson?
We'll waive that right today, Your Honor.
Okay. A plea of not guilty has been entered on behalf of the defendant on all counts of the indictment. Judge Natch has been assigned to this case, and I'm setting the court date for June 15th. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Here in Youngstown, sweet yearning, now I'm sinking down.
Well, Kara, something I want to tell you. I want you to hear this from me first. The FDA's arrested me on some bullshit charge. They're trying to put pressure on me. I wrote up a treatise on acupuncture needles to try to make them legal, showing how the FDA was violating several laws. Because of this, the FDA is pushing back at me, and they come up with some bullshit crap on me. I have to go to trial. It's a felony charge. But don't worry, I'll win.
So you're the good guy?
I'm the good guy. There's some people in the government that don't like acupuncture. They only like, quote, traditional medicine. They don't like natural medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are the bad guys, because they're stopping the people of America from having a freedom of choice. I think that if somebody wants to choose to get treatment, acupuncture treatment for their health, they should have that choice. So I believe I'm one of the good guys. I'm fighting for freedom of choice.
Yeah, I know you're the good guy.
But I know that this could go bad on me. This could go sour. And I want to know if you're behind me.
Yeah, I am. I know you're going to win. Dad, I love you. Everything's going to be fine, and I'm behind you.
Here in Youngstown, here in Youngstown.
This is what's going on in America. The American legal system is based around the people who have money. And the people who have money, like O.J. Simpson, get out. If O.J. Simpson didn't have any money, if he would have got a street lawyer, there'd be no way that he'd be walking the streets today. So what dictates in America is how much money you spend on a lawyer. I couldn't find a lawyer. Finally, I found that there was an ex-prosecutor of the United States government, so somebody who had experience. Somebody who had experience, who was able to attack and knew the tricks that the FDA and the prosecuting attorney would be using.
Bill Nelson, I hear you need a lawyer.
Attorney Godwin, I heard about you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help me. I need a federal attorney. I got a federal case.
Well, I used to be a federal prosecutor, so I know all the little tricks that they like to play.
So you've been on the other side? You know all the details?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I got a long story. It's kind of complicated.
Well, let's grab a seat and you can tell me all about it.
Well, when I had gone to medical school and I found that the education was all around the chemistry, it was about the same time my son was born. He was born autistic, had learning disabilities, and we found out it was because of a drug. It was a synthetic chemical that they had developed. And I've had trouble because of that before in Europe and etc. Well, I had seen that the body really was an electrical process and there was electrical energy flowing. And seeing sciences like acupuncture, a medical science over 5,000 years old, a medical science that's practiced all over the world, that has met the test of time. 5,000 years people have been using this and finding out that the liver meridian is still on the big toe. And after all this time, it just has to have some continuity, must be some truth. So it was so intriguing, and I got into proving acupuncture needles, because acupuncture needles were not registered by the United States government in 1976. In 1976, the legislature of the United States passed the Device Act, making all medical devices having to be registered. Everything in commerce before 1976 was automatically grandfathered, except acupuncture needles. Now, of course, acupuncture needles were in commerce in 1776. So it was just ludicrous what they were doing. So they told me I need to make a 510K, which is a legal document declaring the acupuncture needles equivalent and having been in commerce before 1976. In preparing this document, I found out that the FDA had violated 5 different national federal laws, that they were violating their own laws, and that they were practicing irregularly when they did not grandfather the acupuncture needles in as medical equipment. Now, what I believe, because what I found out, if there's an investigation against me or if there's a conviction against me, they don't have to consider this document. And this is what I believe. I believe that the agents came in after me, not after any rules or violation. They looked for whatever they could. My competition gave them some crummy facts, which I don't think are going to hold water. And next thing you know, it got into a grand jury indictment. Once I got into a grand jury indictment, they arrested me, and now I face federal charges. I need a lawyer. I've heard that you used to work as a federal prosecutor. They tell me that you know about some of these tricks. So I think you're the attorney for me. I think that your experience as a federal prosecutor is going to be a big help. You'll see some of the traps that they're going to set before they set them. I think this will be a good thing. Let's get started.
Bill, you're indeed right. They don't have to acknowledge this report if there is an indictment against you or any investigation, any federal investigation against you. And let me tell you what you're up against. If anybody wants to have you investigated, they appoint a prosecutor who will dig and dig and dig, and it's not always a crime that's under investigation. It's the man. So you've pissed somebody off. The prosecutor puts it in front of the grand jury. 12 normal people who know nothing about the law, shoves them in a room, feeds them donuts, and he, brings all this evidence in front of them. You don't even have to know that this is going on. Even if you did, you could be in the room, you couldn't have a lawyer there. They can ask you anything. And if the grand jury doesn't indict, they'll bring in 12 more people, a new charge, and try to convince those 12 people to indict. It's an endless process. They'll just keep bringing it to the grand jury until there is an indictment that they can bring against you. And unless you have a large amount of money, most people can't afford to fight the federal prosecutors. So a federal prosecutor and the grand jury can be used as a weapon. If someone of power wants to get you, they'll get you.
Have you seen this happen before?
I've done it before.
What else can you tell me?
Well, you've definitely pissed somebody off. They're really out to get you. But I think the evidence is pretty slim. I think I can definitely win this one.
Please be seated. This is 95 Courtroom 450, United States against William Charles Nelson. The case is here on the government's motion for reconsideration of the release order which permits international travel. Mr. Drack for the government and Ms. Godwin for the defendant. Is the defendant present?
He is, Your Honor.
Well, I've read the government motion to deny the defendant's request for international travel and the defendant's response in opposition to that. We're not talking about a detention order. The issue here is whether Mr. Nelson should be permitted to proceed to Europe, particularly London and Budapest. How can Mr. Nelson be in Hungary and be ready for a trial here in this courtroom? May I hear from you, Ms. Godwin?
Your Honor, Mr. Nelson only wishes to return to Hungary for a period of 2 weeks to fulfill a specific...
Look at here, it says here 2 months.
Your Honor, I can say on behalf of the defendant, he only wishes to go back for 2 weeks to fulfill an employment commitment.
This is not an extraditable offence under any extradition treaties between the United States and England and Hungary. Your response to that is Mr. Nelson would be waive extradition. I don't understand how a waiver of extradition is enforceable anywhere.
Well, it would seem, Your Honor, that I am not an expert at international law, but if the defendant is willing to say to the Hungarian government, I don't care about your laws, I'm willing to be extradited, that would solve the whole problem.
That's not how it works. It's government to government. And that government has to recognize a writ from the State Department of the United States. So waiver of extradition is of no value at all.
Well, I understand the court's point of view, Your Honor, but the defendant has close ties to the United States. His friends are here, his family's here, his children are here.
And he'll be here too. The motion is granted on the face of it. Mr. Nelson had better focus on the trial preparation. The date still stands as June 15th. Are there any problems with this date?
I still need to look at government documents that were seized in a search earlier this week, Your Honor.
Mr. Drack, are you now handling this case?
Yes, Your Honor. Documents have been seized in a search warrant, and I have asked that they be maintained at the Food and Drug Administration in Kansas City.
Kansas City? They should be here, don't you think, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor. They will be available this week at the FDA office at the Federal Center.
Where is your office, Miss Godwin?
It's downtown, Your Honor.
Get them to downtown. I don't think counsel have to go to the Federal Center to see these documents. So court date is set for June 15th, and we will get the conditions changed, eliminating foreign travel.
Your Honor, what would you like us to do with his passport?
Where is it?
We have it in our possession, Your Honor. However, we don't object giving it to...
Turn the passport over to the pretrial service office.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court dismissed.
What is this shit? The other judge let me go. What's going on here?
The prosecution filed a motion to reject your travel.
So they bring in a new judge?
Well, the FDA thought the previous judge was too nice.
So they bring in a tough guy?
Yes.
Was it the FDA?
Yes. They are a pretty powerful group.
You're not getting out of here that fast, Jack. You're in America now. It's my country. None of that commie crap.
Why don't you visit me in Budapest next time?
That's what you think.
Yeah. We'll see.
We will see. We will see.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Okay, according to the rules of discovery, you're allowed to look at everything we seized in the raid. There's 25 boxes over there, and there's some more you can start with here. Just let me know when you're finished. Thanks.
Well,
25 plus this.
gotta start somewhere.
Okay. This is all research.
Most of this is just irrelevant material.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found the good stuff yet, have you?
No. Where's the acupuncture report?
I think that's coming up.
Okay.
How about that letter? Did you find that yet?
No.
Well, another month or two we'll be done, eh?
Yeah, no kidding. How much are you paying me?
I know it's by the hour, I guarantee
Yes.
that.
Yes, it is.
Now, this is the important evidence. But, you know, we didn't mail these letters. Competition. Look at that, look at that.
That looks like it's hand-drawn.
Yeah, postscript is hand-drawn.
That's their evidence?
So, how you guys making out?
Well, we've gone through all the boxes, and it seems that something is missing.
Where's the acupuncture needle 510K?
I don't know what you're talking about.
What was that red thing I showed you when you were in the office? The acupuncture needle 510K.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was that thing, the legal description about why acupuncture needles should be licensed medical equipment.
I don't know what you're talking about. I won't talk about that. I don't know what you're talking about.
This was everything, huh?
Yeah. You went through all those over there?
Everything.
Everything.
Well, this is all we got.
How's it going?
Not bad.
How much hot water am I in?
First, how are you hanging in?
Oh, fine, fine. I think this is all bullshit. I think we can find a way around this.
Well, they've tried to get 8 different agencies to go in on this, including the Postal Authority, and they've all declined. So, this is a petty charge. Very petty. This is the lowest I've ever seen it go. But it is a felony. And 99.9% of the time, the grand jury sides with the prosecution. Mind you, it did take 4 grand juries to get an indictment against you. So 3 grand juries didn't think a crime had been committed. They have spent over $5 million on you. You're an expensive boy.
$5 million?
Someone's out to get you.
Oh, shit.
And I don't know if it's going to stop at $5 million.
Well, it's got to be because of this acupuncture needle thing. Why would they spend so much money and time and effort?
Regardless of that, the acupuncture can never be brought into court. The charge is postal fraud. It's the seal. And that's the only evidence that
But
will
in
be
the
brought
court
in.
case, we can bring up I can talk about this. We can bring up the acupuncture needle 510K. And
You can't. You can't put the prosecution on trial. You might feel that's their ulterior motive is the 510K.
But when the jury finds out what the motivation of the FDA is...
The charge is the seal. The acupuncture has nothing to do with it. That may be the ulterior motive, but that's not the charge.
There's no way we can expose the prosecution's motivations?
It's speculation. the judge won't allow it. It's pure speculation.
But if they have some crazy motivation to try to get me for some reason, there's nothing I can do about this?
No. And they have a lot of money. And for me to fight a good case, I'm going to need more money, Bill. I mean, the way it stands, if we go to trial now, we're looking at a 50-50 chance of winning. If I had more money, we could, increase that chance to 80. But you're looking at over $50,000.
Oh, I don't have that kind of money. $50,000. Jeez, all my incomes are back in Europe. And I can't get back there to do any work.
You have to look at what we're up against. Maybe you should consider a plea bargain, pleading guilty.
Have you talked with them? What are they offering?
I talked to the prosecution the other day, and if you plead guilty, they will push for less time. A few months, probably just 2 years probation, in which case you could still go to Europe and teach. You would just have a probation officer set for you there.
And we're looking at 16 months if I lose in the trial.
Yes.
Okay. So a couple months. What else?
They would drop all charges against your friends and colleagues, which is close to your heart. I'm sure you don't want to see your friends go through this.
Well, I think this is not going to stop. I think even if we won this case, they're going to go after friends and other charges and look for other stupid things.
One of the little tricks they like to play is to bring more charges after you've pleaded guilty to one felony charge.
Oh, I see. Because then you look bad because you pled guilty, so then they get you on the
You're already a felon. It's easier to get a conviction.
So what we're looking at, there's an awful lot of money coming in on this. It's obvious that they're just not going to give up. They went to 4 different grand juries. They tried all these different agencies. The acupuncture needle thing we can't even bring into the court to expose their motivations. Even if I win this case, they'll continue to harass me with something else, and they'll continue to harass my friends and colleagues.
Yes.
Because they have endless resources, and I don't have endless resources. There's no way I can come up with $50,000.
Then I think you should consider pleading guilty.
Well, if it was 5 years from now, then nobody else could be charged.
No, the statute of limitations is up in 5 years.
So if it was 5 years from now, we would be able to go back and fight this. But now...
They'll go after everybody.
They'll go after everybody. Well, maybe I should plead guilty to this then.
Did you want to think it over?
Yeah, I'll have to think about this. Yeah, it's hard to fight City Hall when they got that much money, huh? And we can't even expose their motivations. That's incredible. I'll have to think about it. Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson. As a kid, I always admired you. I wanted to be like you. A genius, an inventor. And yet you were willing to fight for your rights. Fight for what you believed in. And your ideals made a country. And your writings changed the world. But now, something's happened here. The United States is a little different. The United States is not what you dreamt it was going to be. It's not what you thought it was going to be. Money dictates everything. Money and power have come to dominate this country and make it what it is. We have a totally unequal system of education. The rich get an education that they can afford, and the poor don't get that same education. The poor get a small education. Education depends on the property taxes. And rather than take them all into one bin and give an equal education to everybody, we have a great disparity of economic education in America. Money starts to control, and there's a drift growing on as the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. We have an unequal system of law in America. The rich can afford the lawyers and can do most anything. O.J. Simpson had the money, and look what happened to him. But yet 1 out of 20 Americans are in jail. Why? Because they can't afford good lawyers. The legal system in America is all dictated on money. If you have the money, you'll win the case. You have a chance. I don't have the money. I can't fight this case, Tom. I can't get the free lawyers off the street. Those are bum lawyers. That's why people are in jail. The system of legality doesn't work. The legal system sucks. You build it, Tom, but you didn't build it enough. There's something wrong. Money is too powerful. Money speaks too much. If I had the money, I could get out on this. If I had the money, I could fight this. If I had the money, I could make this happen. But no, I don't. And now, you write on top of your monument, Tom, I've sworn on the altar of God to oppose any tyranny over the minds of men. And the greatest tyranny that's going on now, Tom, is your government. Your FDA, your Food and Drug Administration, wants to tyrannize the minds of men. They want to tyrannize the minds of men. They want them to only think synthetic drug surgery. They don't want natural medicine, and they don't want acupuncture. Acupuncture, you heard of it, Tom. You used it, Tom. George Washington used it. And the FDA doesn't want to make it legal. They want to make it experimental. And I tried to do something about that, Tom, and I got pinned. Your system got me. Your system works against me. Your system works against the people. We have a government that is not of the people, for the people, by the people. We have a government that's of the representative, for the representative, by the representative. We have a government where the representatives can be bought. The representatives can be swayed. The drug companies have the largest swaying power. And they control and they tyrannize the minds of men. And here we are in the District of Columbia, Tom, and acupuncture's legal, naturopathy's legal, chiropractic's legal, and yet it's not represented by the FDA. 60% of the American people are going to alternative medical doctors. They're going and getting help from natural medicine, and yet the FDA has not 1% of 1% represented. It's unequal representation. And throwing a couple of token alternative medical doctors won't do it, Tom. Equal representation, that's what you fought for. You're just trying to help, Tom. But I stepped on the toes of some people who are trying to tyrannize the minds of men. And you write down, you sworn on the altar, you want to oppose the tyranny of the minds of men. I'd like to too, Tom, but I can't. The system sucks, Tom. Science has become a god, Tom. It doesn't work that way. Fractals are now telling us that chaos theory, things never really repeat. We have a scientific system that tries to repeat and always repeats and looks for replicability. But the world don't work that way, Tom. Medicine don't work that way. You just don't know. That's more of a dictum. You're trying to help people. You can't use this science to this type of degree. You're allowing them to make genetically modified foods. Genetically modifying foods. You're making genetically modified animals, bacteria, pigs. Pigs engineered for blood. Bacteria engineered. Human beings don't have the knowledge to do this. And now the scientists have been given the right to grow their own embryos for scientific research. There's lines that we're crossing, Tom, because of money, because of the drug companies, because of the money in the drug companies. That's what they want. Society has built this science in our society in the United States. We put it on this pedestal and we worship it, and we're losing sight of God. We're losing sight of that natural. And we're losing sight of natural selection because now it's man's selection. You're allowing people to do this shit. Your system is out of control. It's not guided by the people, by their wants. It's not representative of the people. It's representative of the drug companies. It's representative of their money, their banks. He put together a Bill of Rights, Tom. Number 1, the prime directive, freedom of speech. And there's laws in America that prohibit the expression of the opinion that something other than chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery could be helpful for cancer. Freedom of speech goes out the window, Tom, when it comes to the drug companies. It comes to their money and their power and their control and their influence. The basic ideals that you built in here, you programmed, they're gone, Tom. We don't have those freedoms anymore. We have persecution. We have fear. I left America to find freedom of expression. Because I don't have freedom of expression in America anymore. I can't express my opinions about natural medicine. Other parts of the world are much more free. The people of America, they come to the seminars and they're the ones living in fear. And the FDA persecutes me. Well, Tom, I've had to give up. I would like to oppose the tyranny over the minds of men. I have to plead guilty to something I didn't do. Talk about this sucky system. Your system involves plea bargaining. It's a barter system. And it's all based on what type of lawyer can you afford. And if you got the street lawyer, forget it. That's why we have more people in jail than any other country in the world. Is that what you envisioned, Tom? Is that what you put together? Is that what you thought would happen? You didn't put enough controls about big money. I don't know. Maybe these free lawyers that you get, maybe they should have small caseloads. Maybe they should get the highest amount of money. Maybe if we could attract the best lawyers to work there, maybe then we'd have a legal system of some worth. People go to jail, don't even know what they're doing. We have an educational system, completely imbalanced. 40% of the people graduate high school can't read. Why? They're in cheap high schools where they don't have the money. They can't afford teachers. Teachers, all they worry about is survival. They have to check for guns. Guns, what's this craziness about guns? 75 children a week die from guns. Is that what you envisioned? You put down this thing, the right to bear arms. Did you think that 75 children a week would die from guns? Is that what you envisioned, Tom? I don't think so. Well, Tom, I have to quit. I have to plead guilty. I can't fight anymore. The system sucks. And I'm just one that got washed away. Well, Tom, I hope you're happy. And the most incredible tyrannizing of the minds of men today is happening by the drug companies, by the FDA, and by modern medicine that want us to think one way and one way only of our medicine. That's a tyranny of the minds of men. Because there's many other choices. Just in the case with George Bush, when George Bush had trouble, I wrote him a letter. And I said that, George, in the District of Columbia, acupuncture is a legal system. Naturopathy, homeopathy. These are all legal systems of medicine. And these legal systems of medicine, he could choose. Every year he has to have a medical inspection. He could choose to go to an acupuncturist. He could choose to go to a naturopath. It doesn't mandate it's in medical. There's no written critique that says he has to go there. And I understand the pressure that he would get as the president, and how he would want to go to perhaps a medical system or a medical doctor to get his checkup. But yet, I wrote in a letter to him that maybe I don't want that choice. Would he fight for my choice the way I fight for his choice? Because that's what America is supposed to be about. Freedom of choice. You should have the choice of your medicine. You should have the choice of where you live. You should have freedom of church and freedom of choice. And that's what the people like Thomas Jefferson died for. To stop any tyranny over the minds of men. And here the largest tyranny was the Medical Association. Well, Daniel, Kara, this is hard for me to tell you. this legal action that the FDA's taken against me, it's bigger than I thought. There's a lot of people who don't want acupuncture to become real medicine. They're trying to stop this. Even though I'm right, even though I'm innocent, all my intelligence, all my power, I thought that that meant something. I thought that being right meant something. But it doesn't really mean anything. The system is after me. The system's big. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I'm going to have to plead guilty. I'll probably have to go to jail on something I didn't do. I'm one of the good guys. And I didn't do this. But I just can't fight anymore. I'm going to have to plead guilty.
Well, if you believe in angels like I do, they'll probably make it all better. You just have to believe in them.
Well, I believe. Think that's enough?
Yeah.
God damn it, Daddy. You know I love you. You got a hell of a lot to learn about rock and roll.
What do you mean?
When you really, really need it the most, that's when rock and roll dreams come true.
Where'd you get that at?
I got it from Meatloaf.
Well, good. Well, you kids behind me?
Well, it ain't over till the fat lady sings.
That's true, too. Well, no matter what happens, we're still a family, huh? Give me a hug.
You can't run away forever, but there's nothing wrong in getting a good head start.
I'm going to take the guilty plea. I think the plea bargain is better. I just don't have the money for a defense.
It is the best decision, Bill. The rest is just a formality after you sign. It goes before the judge, he accepts it. The judge never turns down a guilty plea. And you can be on a plane to Europe. I've drawn the papers up. You can read it and sign. States the basic. You're pleading guilty to a felony charge. And you know then you can never be president. You can't vote. You can't own a gun.
Well, I don't care about the gun. I don't care about being president. Don't vote too much. But it really, I thought about this. It didn't bother me. But now that I actually have to do this, it's emotional. I didn't think it'd be this much emotion.
Bill, if you only had the money, we could fight this case and we could win this. It's just expensive.
That's a lot of money. $40,000 is a lot of money. I don't have that. I can't even work. I need to get back to Europe to work.
Then this is the best way.
The
Get it over
FDA knows
with.
this too. There was the Oklahoma City bombing, and they got the guy that they thought had did it, Timothy, and a judge in Denver was chosen, Judge Mage. He was chosen to be the judge, and Judge Mage was also chosen to be my judge. And normally, whenever there's a guilty plea, the judge just rubber stamps it. That's what my lawyer said. You got a guilty plea, judge says, okay, next case. But in my case, I think that the judge was sitting there thinking. I think the judge had a different idea. Time's come. What's this case about?
Mrs. Phillips, how do you wish to plead?
Guilty, Your Honor.
Ms. Phillips, has a plea bargain been discussed with you?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Phillips, has there been any problems with money brought to you to plead guilty?
No, Your Honor. Yes.
I don't want anyone in my courtroom pleading guilty to something they didn't do.
What would you like me to do? I don't have the money to plead innocent. What do you want me to do? I mean, I can't tell you the truth. You won't believe me, and I don't have the money to prove it. So I might as well just plead guilty, right? I mean, what else am I going to do?
If money is the problem, then we'll find a lawyer to assist you.
The lawyers that you appoint aren't any match for these people. I don't even stand a chance. What do you think? Do you think these people who come in for free are going to be able to do anything to help me?
Justice is not served by plea bargains and financial difficulty. I can assure you that if you need help, we will certainly provide a lawyer for you.
Now, When he asked me about this plea bargain, what am I supposed to tell him?
There's no plea.
But there was a plea. I made a plea bargain with the prosecution.
The judge doesn't need to know that. As far as the judge is concerned, you're guilty.
But the judge is asking me if there was a plea, and if there was a plea, I should say yes.
No, you say no. The judge has to believe you're telling the truth when you're lying to him.
You want me to lie to the judge?
Yes.
A federal judge of the United States. And you want me to lie to the judge?
If he doesn't buy your plea, he'll throw it out of court and you have to go through this again. How fast do you want to get back to Europe to teach?
Well, I don't want to lie to the judge. I didn't do anything wrong to begin with.
But you've
agreed. Now I gotta lie to him I did this. I gotta lie to him there's not a plea bargain. There was.
Do you want to fight a long, speedy trial?
I want to tell the truth. I'd like some justice. I thought we made an agreement. I didn't know it was something I had to lie to a judge about.
You made an agreement to plead guilty. That's just the way the system works.
Well, that's fine, but he's going to ask me, did I make an agreement? And I want to say yes. We made a plea.
No.
We made a bargain. And now you want me to lie about the plea bargain?
Yes. That's just the system. That's the way it works.
I'm not sure the system works. I'm not sure that this is called working. I'm not sure this is a functioning system to begin with.
The only one we've got.
Please be seated. This is 95 Courtroom 450, United States against William Charles Nelson. The matter here is on an indictment which charged 3 counts violations of Section 1017 of the Title 18 United States Code. The defendant pleaded not guilty to these charges, and now apparently there's guilty plea to 2 charges. Mr. Dreck, representing the government, Ms. Godwin, representing the defendant. Good morning to both counsels.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Your Honor.
I reviewed the plea agreement in bench. I don't think that any crime has been committed. I don't want anybody in my courtroom pleading guilty to a crime that he didn't commit.
Again, that it's true. When you're always alone, afraid, completely amazed, there's nothing anybody can do but keep on believing, and you'll discover, baby.
All I see here in the plea agreement and the statement of facts and in the indictment is falsely sending letters. Is that a violation of this statute?
That alone would not be a violation. But in addition to the alleged, it's stated that Mr. Nelson caused an employee of the Enclosure Corporation to wrongfully inflict and impress the Department Health and Human Services seal. Your Honor, in this case, it is the government's belief that, the Enclosure Corporation with which Mr. Nelson was associated had letters from the FDA containing the Department of Health and Human Services seal. He then had an employee copy the letterhead with the Department of Health and Human Services seal onto a letter which then he mailed to people.
Well, show me what the letter looks like then. I don't understand how this is a violation of the statute.
The court indulgence, Your Honor?
Well, all he did was Xerox the letterhead, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Well, I'm disturbed by this, Miss Godwin. You apparently have advised your client he could plead guilty to this, but I don't understand why. Come forward and explain it.
Well, Your Honor, the court has touched upon an issue that has troubled the defense, and I can assure you we have researched this exhaustively, but my client has to make a calculated decision as to whether or not that defense will prevail.
Well, I think you better think again.
If the court would care to offer an advisory opinion,
I don't issue advisory opinions.
I understand, Your Honor.
But before I accept guilty pleas, I have to be sure, as the law requires me to be sure, that the agreed upon facts constitute a violation of the particular statute charged in the counts of the indictment. I don't have that view of this case.
Well, Your Honor, I'm not going to stand here and disagree if that's the court's position. I merely wish to explain to the court why we made the decision that we did.
There may be other crimes involved in this conduct?
That's exactly right, Your Honor.
But I don't deal with that.
What I'm telling you, Your Honor, is why we made the decision that we did is because we're not willing to bet my client's liberty on whether the court will rule on this issue. If the court is prepared to say today that that is not a government seal, we will change our plea.
Well, in looking at what has been handed to me here and looking at the statutes, they don't match in my opinion. Now, maybe the government has some authority that hasn't been cited. Both of you have said there isn't any. It is not, in my view, of the criminal law we should take the most expansive reading of criminal statutes. Quite to the contrary. Since liberty is at stake, we take plain meaning, and Xeroxing a letterhead that happens to have some logo is not, in my judgment, impressing a seal of a government agency.
No disagreement from the defense, Your Honor.
I don't know what we're going to do. But we're not going to accept this plea agreement. We had a trial date set for Monday, don't we?
Your Honor, at this time, the government is going to move to dismiss the indictment in criminal case number 95-CR-450.
Does the defendant oppose to motion to dismiss?
Not surprisingly, Your Honor, no.
All right, this case is dismissed.
Your Honor, one more issue. We would request the government return Mr. Nelson's passport since presumably he is now a free man.
Bill Nelson is as free as any man in this courtroom. So whoever has his passport should give it back.
Your Honor, in view of the court's inclination towards the use of the 18 U.S. Code 1017, the government may be prepared to pursue a charge under a different statute in Title 18, which would better encompass the conduct here. We would like to detain Mr. Nelson's passport until this issue is cleared up.
That was not a request. That was an order. If this man does not have his passport back within the next hour, all of you will be spending the week in jail on contempt.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Court dismissed.
What about his acupuncture 510K? I don't know. Listen, I'm still pissed off about this. His acupuncture 510K? Do you know anything about it? No, I don't have access to that yet. Well, I don't know. Anyways, I said I'm still. We couldn't hold his passport, so I don't know what you're going to do about that. Yeah, I don't know. The whole case is like.
Boy, I can't believe that. My daughter must be right. I must have a guardian angel.
You've got to be one of the luckiest men I know. A judge never overturns a plea.
Oh, jeez. But thanks a lot. I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
I'm just going to get another judge.
I'll send you a postcard.
Wait a second, Jack. You're not getting off that easy. Not in my country.
If I don't have my passport back in the next hour, you're going to spend a weekend in jail. So then when I realized that the judge wasn't so unfriendly, I changed my plea. So no, I was never had any prosecution. I'm a free man, not a felon. And what happened is that the judge then basically put out his opinion that I did not commit any crime. And the FDA was stuck in a position of having to get a new judge. So they went out and got a new judge, which they'll do time and time again, because they don't care. It's all about just the numbers for them, just to harass me, and just to create more and more embarrassment. They understand that if we come to another case, they're not going to win. They know that, but they just want to harass.
Mike, you have to deal with this now.
Yeah, Joel? Looks like we have to release acupuncture needles. Yeah. Yeah, I know. All right.
The FDA was beaten. They did not want to expose all the laws that they had broke. And 5 days later, acupuncture needles were made registered medical equipment.
Because of the changes in America, acupuncture then rapidly changed in Europe and rapidly changed around the world, where acupuncture now is recognized as a medical equipment everywhere. It's recognized as insurance billable, and it's recognized as a form of medicine, which is where it should have been from before. But there was a group of people who tried to tyrannize our minds and try to stop us. And those medical people who wanted us to only think about synthetic drugs and surgery and chemotherapy and radiation, those people are now being challenged. And those people represent the FDA, and they do not represent the will of the American people or the will of the people of the world. And it's an unfair situation that is allowed to continue by the people of the world and the people of America who tolerate them not being properly represented. It's not a situation of anybody trying to force a different choice. It's the idea of expansion of the freedom of choices. Because like I said with George Bush, choose any type of system you wish and I will defend your choice, because that's what it's about. But please, George, defend my choice and don't try to deprive me from a choice of medicine, because I choose naturopathy. And I only choose naturopathy. And that's for my children, and it's a legal system of medicine around the world and in America, and it's my choice.
You look like you've been partying all night.
Oh, gee, I'm just celebrating. Partying my brains out.
Well, you are, again, like I said, pretty lucky. Pretty lucky.
So.
Judge never does that.
It's
never.
hard to believe.
But Bill, I gotta tell you, in 24 hours they can have another judge. My advice would be to get back to Europe while you can.
Well, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Now, in 5 years, the statute of limitations runs out on your friends. You go, you make some money, come back.
They won't be able to put pressure on them then, would they?
No, and we can come back. There's a lot we know that they don't know. And we can win this. And we can embarrass the FDA.
Yeah, there's a lot of things they don't understand that they don't about this case. We can really embarrass the prosecution and the FDA then.
Yes.
Well, been good. Take
so
it
go
easy.
back and get some money.
Tom, I got to apologize to you. I told you the system sucks. It doesn't. The system works. As you said, you've sworn on the altar of God to oppose the tyranny of the minds of men. I didn't realize that God would help. It isn't just the money and the power. It isn't just the FDA. There's judges and there's juries and there's people's hearts to touch. And I believe that most of the people in America need to know this. They should trust in the truth. They don't have to do these plea bargains. God will find a way. The judges and the juries hear more than we know. I think that we need to have this as a message. We need to trust in the truth, Tom. God will help. You're right. It's sworn on the altar of God. And God can help us. And He helped me. And I won't plead guilty again. You show me the way, Tom. Through the hand of God, I understand now. I won't plead guilty again on this. I won't plead guilty to something I didn't do. I'll take the fight to Him. Because now I know, Tom, your system does work and can work. But we have to fight to keep it to work. We just can't sit down. We got to get up off our butts and fight. And I'm going to fight some more. I'm not done. You ain't seen nothing yet, Tom. Thanks for the advice. Sorry for what I said before.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
Okay, Tom, take it easy.
Fight for natural medicine. I fought the FDA. Tried to register acupuncture. FDA got in my way. I know that any fight's worth fighting. If in your heart you know you said, heart you know you said, I challenge the drug companies and the FDA. I said you ain't seen nothing yet. FDA, you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. FDA, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around. You better go to school. Now I'm feeling better, 'cause I found out for sure there's justice in the system. Natural medicine has the only cure. There's one thing more powerful than all the armies of the world. Armies of the world. That's an idea's time has come. I said you ain't seen nothing yet. Baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. FDA, you ain't seen nothing yet. Better go to school. Learn. Stop taking that money. I beat the FDA once. Now acupuncture said, natural medicine's time has come. You ain't seen nothing yet. FDA, you ain't seen nothing yet. Here's something you're never gonna forget. FDA, you ain't seen nothing yet. You ain't been around.